Hello everyone! Today I've prepared a full real-time painting session for you, a complete watercolor portrait using only 4 colors. But before we begin, I just want to say thank you so much! Today this channel reached 45,000 subscribers and I can't believe so many of you are here painting and learning with me. I'm incredibly grateful. So let's settle in, prepare the materials and start painting together. For this session, I chose a smaller format, just A4 size, because things have been really busy lately and I wanted to finish a piece before my surgery, that's tomorrow. I will be recovering for about 2 weeks, so this video felt important to share with you before then. I'm also trying out a new paper today. This is Balhong 300 GSM cold press cotton paper. Normally I paint on Winsor & Newton professional cotton paper with the same specs, but papers, they can be surprisingly different. This Balhong paper has a very rough texture, so my usual soft brushes, they did not really behave the same way. You'll even see me switch to synthetic brushes during the process here and there. The lifting of the pigment was also a bit trickier, but I think I still managed to finish a decent looking portrait in about 90 minutes. I hope watching me adjust to new materials will be useful for you too, and I will also show you during the process how to correct some of the mistakes that I've experienced. I wanted this session to be an opportunity for you to paint along, so I usually do these real-time sessions every month with my patrons, but occasionally I like to share one here on YouTube as well, since many of you find them really helpful. To make it even easier for you, I've created an open post on Patreon. This is a free post, I will link it down below, where you can find the full material list and all the colors that I used, and even download my sketch. And now let's get started. I have chosen a reference from my Pinterest board. So I have this reference board for inspiration, photos that I find is inspiring and I would like to paint. You can find it linked down below in the description of this video, and there's the reference that I've chosen. For the study, I will only be using 4 colors. This is a limited palette study, orange red, cobalt blue and bloodstone genuine. This color granulates. This is a grainy color. It gives you a little bit of texture. I'm testing this new paper. This is Balhong. I paint on it twice. One painting turned out very good and the other one I hated. So I'm not used to this paper. It's a bit of a learning curve for me, and there's a level of discomfort that I have with these papers. You have to get used to your materials before you get the best of them. I'm going to paint on an incline. Usually I put a basket below my watercolor painting pad. This time is just going to be this sponge. So there's an incline, but just very not too steep. I will first mix the basic skin tone. I'm going to be mixing orange with a bit of red, diluting with water, so trying to balance it out. So at this point this is very orangey. I want something more diluted, a bit more on the red side for her skin. I always have these test papers nearby. Something like that looks nice. I'm going to paint the first layer and I'm going to be mindful of the white areas that she might have on the face. I marked a couple of highlights here, for example. Here I didn't mark, but I remember that here is another highlight. This entire side is pretty much white, so I'm gonna be careful around there. There are some highlights on the ear, maybe we could mark those. Don't know how many I want to preserve, but let's do that. So I will apply the first wash carefully. I will only avoid like the highlights. Here there is skin tone still. I will go through the eyes. I don't see anything white in the eyes, so that's why. Here. Here I'm being a bit more careful. On the nose, I will grab something that is a little bit smaller. I want to be mindful about the silhouette. Here. So this is the area that I need to maneuver a little bit, so that's why I'm grabbing smaller brush. Okay, and everywhere where there's white, here, here, and here, I will go through that area with clean water, like that. Do not leave them to dry. We need to like soften that area, connect it with the skin tone so that we don't have too much like harsh edges. Okay. Here and here. This area I think already has more skin tone. The light will be strongest here in this area. So down here I'm even mixing in the skin tone, a little bit of the cobalt blue for the like lower part of the face, for this part of the face. You don't have to make the skin tone all that gray, but it would be great if we could make it a little cooler. Okay. And for the lips now I'm adding a bit of a like diluted red for the lips here as well. Very gentle red. And I want to add some more red to the nose here while it's still wet. A bit more to this part, like to the cheek. A bit more around the eyes, just to make it pop. Okay. So now the ear. I'm gonna try to think about it more simply, but the paint for the ear will be a bit more red. You can see the redness there. Okay, maybe it will be more strategic here to, I don't know, remove some of the highlights after I paint. I'm not sure. Here I just add clean water. Good. If I didn't leave out some of these highlights, I can then remove them slightly later. But before this dries, I want to add some color for the hair. So I'm gonna be working with the bloodstone, but not too harsh. I want to dilute it a bit. We don't have to use all the dark for the first layer, but we want to add all of the colors to the paper. Maybe I need something a bit more large. Here I'm painting around the ear and around the earring. Don't mind some of the like bleeding. Maybe a bit I will remove while I can. But to leave some of the bleeding can be nice. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to try to do more with stronger pigment in the area where the hair is darkest. I can go stronger because this area is going to be like more painterly, expressive. And here will be very dark. Up here, more dark. This area very dark. But still being a little bit more cautious because of the ear is still wet. Now I want to be a little bit bolder with red color as well. No longer need the skin tone, we'll get rid of it. And I now need red, like bright, this cadmium free red because of the shirt. So I want to add this color. Maybe even to the hair a little bit. And now the background. I will make some sort of purple with red and blue, with blue prevailing, and we'll try if that works. So I want to add a bit more, just a few of the like more expressive red strokes. And a little bit of the dark color to the background here. And a bit more of the real dark bloodstone strokes here, only at the areas that I see that are most black in the hair. So everything that I can do during the first layer, I will try to do. And there's one more trick to the hair. So I have this spatula in the studio. I want to try to remove some of the hair strands. Just scratch while it's still wet. I'll now try to hair dry everything. We'll see what that looks like. Oh, and before I do that, I will just put fingers in my water that I create some of the like beautiful watercolor texture that I want to have on the background in the portrait, that should create these intentional like splattery effects. So after drying, the textures look beautiful. I love this, but I overestimated my incline. It was not enough. There are maps on the face. If I had it higher, that would not have happened. The paint would not be returning there, but would descend. But I would still like to continue with the painting. I do not throw away a painting because of a mistake like this. We can try to fix. We will see what that looks like. Usually for fixing such mistakes, I need some tissues, I need clean water, soft brush, and I will just try to rub, if that helps. I'll have to rub this area to get rid of this edge, this bloomy edge. And there's some things that came into the face from the background. So there's one thing that already I'm noticing about Bauhong paper, even though I do not have much experience with it, is that it dries very, very slowly. That could be a huge advantage for some techniques, but the paper that I normally use, the Winsor and Newton, that one, usually when I paint the hair and the background, the face is already dry, and therefore background does not really go in the face area. But this did not happen. It was all very, very wet to the last minute. Maybe this one single part was already dry. Next time I will do a painting, I'm making a note because I do not want to fight this property of the paper. Instead, I want to try maybe working with it and use a technique that allows me to build very slowly, wet in wet. So, but that's for a later time. The rubbing of the pigment did not help. It helped a little bit, but not all that much. And so I want to apply another layer. So I want to apply here. And I want the paint to stay like this. So clean brush, and I will gently blend the edges here. Blend on the other side. We'll grab a smaller brush, and I will, since this is wet, I will start mixing in some of the color for the shadows. These shadows are very subtle on her face. Here we need more softening. But the color that we will mix is red and blue. Red and blue is very simple. I need to, in some areas I will have to dilute, and in some areas even mix into the skin tone, but that's limited palette. It is very simple to combine colors, and therefore you can really focus on laying down the color with some intention. And if you are placing paint wet in wet like this, try to have less water on your brush, so thicker pigment, and it will turn out better. It will not run that far. Here is the eyebrows. I'm adding color for the eyebrows. This is not me painting eyebrows, this is just the shadow below. Here we are forming some sort of weird edge again, so I'll try to pull the paint a bit more. And here also very slightly adding the shadow color for the curve. I'm slowly adding thicker and thicker paint. I don't want to slave over this study. This is just a small study. Oh, too much water, and it spreads incredibly far. This paper will probably be better working on a dry surface, will probably give me more control, we'll see. Here I want to pull and remove. Let's do this on the nose here. And clean water, pull the paint like that. A little bit more red. And starting to add blue here, because this is the shadow area. There. And blending these edges. Here I would like to see a bit more red. Maybe we'll have to do a couple of layers, I don't know. I go below the nose now. And pull with clean water. These bigger parts of the face, they're better to do with bigger brush. Okay, let's do the lips. A little bit of that color for the shadows. Clean water. There, but the paint runs. And the lower lip, a bit more red. Clean. A few more of these tiny little details. And strong shadow below. So red and blue, anytime I'm painting shadow, red and blue together. But I'm thinking, is it a bit bluer, which in this case it is, or a bit redder? You can really get, from this mixture, you can get almost black. I'm gonna try if I could add here as well, when I have it on my brush. And here. can also create some sort of like greener undertone from the orange and blue, and this is what I'm using here. I think it in this area I kind of see it on the reference below the mouth, the lips, a lot. This part will be a bit more difficult, but let's tackle this. There will be strong shadows, strong, like real strong shadow, a little bit more on the red side here, and we have to be careful because this is the silhouette of the portrait. So you will even, I here see the influence of this greener mixture here, but more blue in this part that is like crazy dark. We have to connect it with the face, so I will do that with skin tone mixed with that greener mixture. So skin tone will slightly bit more blue, and that will make the same color here. Connect it with what we painted, larger brush, and I think just water will do here. Does that look good? Is that looking okay? I think so. Some parts, of course, are not so crisp. We have to dry and then adjust. The ear will leave for later. Part connects a bit more with the greener mixture. I would love to continue adding a few more details in the face. I will work slowly here in this area. This time wet paint on a dry paper with small brush. And we'll see how that goes. I will here prepare the shading mixture, which means the red with blue. I'm gonna grab a bit of the Bloodstone Genuine for the lashes and the brows. I think I'm ready to add the brows actually, so I'm gonna do that with this brush. This is like a calligraphy brush, quite cheap, but it gives you a nice texture. With a thicker paint, less water on your brush, you can do stuff like this. This is a dry brush technique, so I can even do shorter marks if I just stamp with the brush. This is usually my go-to technique for lashes or brows. Let's see if that will work here. It can give you very thin lines, like very tiny, delicate lines. I think for the eyebrows it's perfect. And here we need to be a bit more dark. And I want to paint the lashes. And here as well. I'll be working around the eyes for a bit with this shading mixture, so with red and blue mixed together, because the eye has some more things that need to be defined. This area I think should have more contrast. This line over here as well. I'll just add the paint and spread with clean damp brush. By the way, if you are unsure about some of the techniques that I'm using here, I made a video previously, it's on my channel, that is called 6 key techniques to learn for watercolor portraits. I'm going to put it in the card or link it down below the video if you want to. That video has a very slow breakdown about all of the techniques that I'm applying here. If you want to first practice before you paint the actual portrait, that video I think could help you. And since I want to be sure that the contrast is enough, I'm going to dry. I now want to paint the lens, so the inside of the eye. And shadow below. Okay, I'm going to add subtle shading around the nose. I'm doing this with just regular skin tone, so that the shadows here don't get so dark. But here I need more color, while this area stays a bit more light. And there's the cheek. Okay, I'm going with this color, the darker shadowy color. I'm going inside the lips. We've been here once before, but definitely need enhancement in this area. And the lower lip here as well. And I want to draw just a tiny bit details, a little bit here for those lips. There's a little bit of the green here. So I mixed that with orange and blue. Applying here. And I'm still not getting the red that I want. But red is, I find red a very tricky color for this medium. In this medium is very tricky and difficult to get the red being bright. Usually I achieve it by using artistic paint. That means that the pigment is already quite dense, and that helps with saturation a lot, but also using thick pigment and the first contact of the pigment with paper, like here, and then it can stay like beautifully vibrantly red. When I'm glazing it or mixing with other colors, that it gets very dull. I'm still not quite satisfied with some of the tiny little shadows around the face, but I'm starting to be really nitpicky and I don't like that. But I've forgotten the shadow on the nose. It's very tiny, but it's there. What I mean is this, like tiny shadow here on this part of the nose that connects with the mouth. So I'd like to get that shadow there somehow. And very, very carefully, because I don't want to spread that paint too much, very carefully blend it with just the tip of my brush. Hopefully it will stay where it's supposed to stay. Okay, now the silhouette of the face has a bit more contrast. I like. Here is another part that I am not a big fan of. Here would like to achieve a bit more form in the nose area. Hopefully that's a bit better. And here as well. Okay, I do not want the short study to become a very detailed piece, but just a couple of things. Please, just a couple of things. Around the eyes, I feel like we still don't have the depth that I wanted, and that's important part. So here, I'm feeling like I'm losing a color, the darkness of the color. Here, maybe even in this area. And I will try to incorporate it. I don't want to be too dark, but still. And this area should be with more like reddish paint. It is still mixture of red and blue, but more on the like red side. Okay, and finally I want to add a few more of these, like there's tiny little details. It's not exactly freckles, but the skin is not all that flawless, so something, some visual noise. Maybe not here, but definitely some of these areas there is something. Here I think there, I actually can see it on the reference photo, that there are a few of these tiny parts of the face. I would also add shadow here. Good. I will finish the ear, few of the hair strands, and I think we can call it done. One more adjustment is in the eye. I see a reflected light I would like to add, but what I noticed about this particular paper is that it does not really allow me to lift a lot of pigment, nearly at all. And I did not know that before. So next time I will plan for it, maybe even use masking fluid for these parts. But let's try, maybe here it's fine. Here it lets me take out a little bit. I will correct the shape. This is how I like to do it. No, you don't need to add white paint. I added a little bit of the red inside the nostril. Don't want it black, but I want to maybe, connect it. I fix one more shadow on the forehead and then we'll do the ear. Just want to add more. We did add that before, but somehow it got lost. Here I would like more of that shadow. I added the greener version. So that means orange with blue prevailing. Fine. And a tiny little bit of that paint is here as well. Good. Let's do this part. So I will now grab where's my brush? Some cheap, sturdy synthetic brush. I will put clean water on it and I try to rub off some of the highlights. Those that were like near white on my reference. Here, and here the paper actually lets me take out some. You have to have a good sturdy brush because with the brush that's too soft, sometimes it doesn't work. Here. I go with smaller brush, red and orange. So essentially skin tone, but redder, because that skin is red. I'll put the ear here so that you can see. We'll paint that color here. First, like the base color of the ear, so mostly redder color. But I want to incorporate it, so I want to blend it. And with my shading mixture is a weird wording, but it's just a mix of colors that I use for shading. So red and blue, always red and blue. I will want to now here add the shadow around the earring. It has hard edge here. With just a tiny bit of red in this shadow being present. Now I want to paint these shadows in here. Okay, I figured with the paper that has such a sturdy texture like this one, I might be better off with more synthetic bristles than the regular soft bristles, maybe in some areas, because it's just easier to lay down the paint on this paper for me. So again, even here in these areas, some parts of the shadow will be more red and some will be incredibly blue. Here it's going to be a lot of blue here. I still need to incorporate in some areas. So let's wrap this by adding a few of the hair strands, maybe define a little bit around this earring. This one should be black. I will leave it white or add blue maybe. Don't know. We'll add a bit of blue here. We'll keep the highlight and dilute. But this one, and there's more shadows here, so shadow color. Good. With textured brush I'm going to work on these tiny hair strands. I'm going to be adding them slowly. Here as well. And now with pure like thick bloodstone, I will want to emphasize some of the darkest parts of the hair. So it's usually here, here, and then here, some at the top of the head. And we are nearing the finish line. I want this really thick paint to create dark contrast. Few splatters just to decorate. Hopefully in the right areas. I'll now dry everything after getting rid of the excess water here, and then we'll see if there's, but I don't think I will be adding more adjustments today. I would love to let you know that I've just released a brand new Skillshare class, and this one is really special. It is designed for anyone who's been wanting to try watercolor portraits but felt a little overwhelmed. In that class, we will also paint a portrait together step by step at a very slow pace so you can follow along. But it's more than just the demo. There's also very helpful lessons on materials, sketching, how to mix colors, even how to set up your table so that painting feels enjoyable instead of stressful. By the end of that class, you will have a reliable process that you can come back to anytime you want to paint a portrait. The link for a free trial is down below if you'd like to join me there. On Skillshare, you can upload projects to classes, and I can give all the students short feedback to their work so they can improve even more quickly. There are already 2 beautiful projects on this class, and it was released just 2 days ago, and I can't wait to see more of you joining. I hope you enjoyed today's painting session. I loved working on this painting with you. If you like this video, please subscribe, give it a like. You can leave me a comment down below letting me know what would you like to paint in the future in a video like this. Maybe what other topic would you like me to cover regarding watercolor portraits mostly. And I will see you soon. Bye.